Sniping and the role of the sniper has long been a subject of myth and misunderstanding. Some people think snipers are assassins. They aren't. Some people think they're merely hunters who go in the wood as some kind of freelance snatchers of life. They aren't. Snipers are superb marksmen, master tacticians, and superb practitioners of fieldcraft. And indeed, these are the three component skills that must be mastered in order to be a sniper: tactics, marksmanship, and fieldcraft. If a sniper is deficient in any one of three, he cannot execute his mission, whether law enforcement or military. Think of sniping as a three-legged stool. If any one of these three legs is shorter than the other, the whole stool will be out of kilter. It's equally true for a sniper. Therefore, we're going to teach you what a sniper must know about all three skill areas: marksmanship, fieldcraft, and tactics. This is a state-of-the-art sniper rifle, the Robar SR90. It's a 308 caliber, has a Remington refined action, which Robar took a standard Remington action and tightened it up. The locking lugs have been lapped so that it closes much more consistently and smoothly than would an off-the-shelf sporting rifle. It sports a target grade barrel, heavyweight. This is called fluting, in which strips have been cut from the barrel for two purposes. Number one is to reduce weight, and number two, in relative terms, it increases the surface area to improve cooling. Up here at the muzzle, you can see that that's a recessed crown, so as to protect that rifling from any dings which could degrade accuracy. If we look at the back of the stock, and this is a Kevlar fiberglass, and fiberglass, state-of-the-art stock, the cheek can be raised to better align the shooter's eye with the scope. You can as well adjust the butt for the overall length so that it better seats into the shooter's shoulder. And of course, you want to achieve about 3 inches eye relief. The optic on this is a Leupold Ultra Mark IV 16 power Butler Creek scope caps to protect those excellent lenses. It is adjustable by quarter minute of angle increments for elevation. Here, windage is adjustable by 1 minute of angle. And over here is an important knob, focus. By focusing specifically on the target you're about to engage, you reduce even the slightest possibility of parallax. The trigger is about 3 pounds, which is pretty typical for a sniper rifle, and it's a very smooth, refined, polished trigger. Very nice let-off. If you look the way I put my hand on that grip, there's a slight swelling in the pistol grip to reduce the likelihood that you might wrap your finger around it. Remember, for sniper level marksmanship, you want just the bare tip of that finger to be engaging the trigger, and you don't want to be pulling it other than straight back. Now the bipod, this one is equipped with a Parker Hale, which is an excellent bipod, probably about the best made, but as well, many sniper rifles come with the Harris bipod. It's less expensive, very popular. It attaches to the front swivel stud of a high-powered rifle. This is the bipod that is probably used by most police agencies in the United States, and it comes as an extra piece of gear with the M24 sniping system. This sniper rifle fires match-grade ammunition, and only match-grade ammunition should be fired with a sniper rifle. This is 308 168 grain Federal match. A sniper team is outfitted with quite a variety of equipment. While much of it is certainly needed in the field, when you look at what's really critical, what's actually mission essential, it breaks down into 3 different groups: weapons, optics, and communications gear. For weapons, in addition to personal sidearms for self-defense, a sniper team obviously has a sniper rifle. In this case, it's an SR-90 Robar. Here we have an SSG made by Steyr. The spotter's weapon is an M16A2, which means it's got the heavier barrel and it fires a slightly heavier 62 grain round for better long-distance ballistic performance. The only addition here could be an M203 grenade launcher to this weapon so that it could fire 40mm smoke and HE to perhaps mask an enemy, prevent him from observing you, cover a withdrawal, etc. In the area of communications, here we have a handy talkie Motorola, very typical of what law enforcement uses today, as well as special operations units. What's unusual about this radio is it has a micro switch, a push to talk for just an index finger for the non-shooting hand of a sniper. That way he can be ready to engage, he's got his trigger finger on the trigger, and yet he can still communicate perhaps to an observer or a sniper coordinator during an on-scene crisis. As well, this is an Eagle headset that includes a special device that can read vibrations off the top of your jawbone, so that you've got both ears clear. You can hear with your normal hearing and yet still communicate right through the jawbones. We've also got voice-activated radios. These are inexpensive ones, but the concept is that you have a combination microphone and earphone in the earpiece, and it's voice activated. You don't have to touch anything with your hand. The sniper can have his hands completely on the weapon and yet be communicating merely by starting to talk. In the area of optics, we've got firstly a spotting scope, absolutely essential piece of team gear. Should be a minimum of 20 power to be effective. No more than 30 power or mirage becomes a problem. At the other end of the spectrum, we've got mini binocs. Those are little 10 powers. Those are very handy because you can quickly pull them out of a pocket to check something out if you detect it with naked vision. And finally, we have some 7x50 Steiner binocs, excellent quality glass. And actually, that is probably the key, most important optical item in the team, because you will initially detect target indicators with those binocs. Probably 70% of your surveilling with optics will be with binoculars. And lastly, I have an optical rangefinder there. The team also could have a laser rangefinder, especially when you get to shooting beyond 500 yards. Mere rule of thumb techniques become less and less accurate. You need something more reliable. Now, if you want to divide up the duties within the sniper team, the spotter, and I'm going to bounce back and forth on these, he observes and adjusts the fire, and of course, meanwhile, it's the sniper who's engaging targets. The spotter leads in the march. That's where famous encounters was a counter-sniper engagement in which you had to outthink a very professional North Vietnamese sniper.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell me that story?
Well, it's just that he was doing a bad job. This North Vietnamese sniper was sent down there to get me, and which I really didn't appreciate. And he was doing a bad job on the hill. They killed a gunnery sergeant right outside my door of my hooch, and I watched him die. And took a vow right then. I was going to get him somehow or another. And I left Vietnam the first time with 86 confirmed and a whole gob of probables. And I figured I was a little bit better than what they were. So, just a smidge, because I was still alive. And got John Burke when he started shooting another time. I got John Burke, who was my partner, and we went out. And no, it wasn't John, it was another partner. And we went out, and we trailed him. I trailed him. As a team leader, I trailed him. He's very cagey, very smart individual. And I figured he was close to being as good as I was, but there ain't no way. Ain't nobody that good. So, and you got to think like that too. You got to think like that. And I made a mistake. I fell on an old rotted tree, and he made a shot and hit my partner's canteen. And Burke and I both thought he was hit because all the warmness running down over his legs and stuff. And I noticed the hole in his canteen. You ain't hurt. Yeah, you ain't hurt. Just to kill the devil out of your canteen, that's all. And we moseyed around and mingled around, and he started running. The bad guy started running then. And we worked around to where I was in his old spot, he was in my old spot, which was a bad thing for him because he was facing the sun by that time. That was afternoon by then. And the sun glinted off his lens of the scope, I guess, and which I didn't know at that time. But I saw the glint. I shot it where the glint was. And it just happened to be the right time. And by looks of things, I was just the quickest on the trigger. Otherwise, they'd kill me.
How do you know that?
Excuse me?
How do you know that otherwise he would have killed you?
Oh, how do I know he would have killed me? Because I shot right through his scope, right straight through the scope. Didn't touch the side. Didn't touch the side. And it didn't do his eyesight no good in that side either.
Gunnery Sergeant Hathcock prevailed in that cat and mouse game against the North Vietnamese sniper who was especially tasked to hunt him down and kill him. And when he did it, he practiced with several established counter-sniping techniques. Let's look at some of those techniques. The essence of counter-sniping is locating a hidden gunman so that you can then bring your own fire on him or maneuver against him. Perhaps the simplest way of doing this is paying close heed to where you hear the sound of his rifle shot, and if you know your position on a map, shooting a magnetic back azimuth. You may have to compensate for the difference between true north and magnetic north, but once you plot that and you examine along that direct line, you'll probably be within 5 degrees one way or the other of where he was. Focus on what would be likely hides along that straight line and examine it minutely with optics. A similar technique uses a rifle rod to trace the ballistic path left by his bullet through soft material. Big danger when you're standing close to the impact point as I am now, you're within his sights. You may have to mask your front with smoke or wait till darkness to do this, but you take a rifle rod, place it in that bullet path left through soft material such as a tree, the side of a house. It will point directly back to where the sniper is located. You now have a straight line. To determine how far he is along that straight line, look at the angle the bullet was plunging when it struck that material. If it's relatively flat, probably 200 yards or less. A gentle plunge, this is probably about 300, maybe 400. You start to get a dramatic 30, 40 degree plunge, it's probably 500 plus. By the time you've got almost a 45 degree, it's probably 700 or 800 yards. When a hostile sniper is concealed and engaging people in an expansive area such as that before us, and in which there are no likely or obvious hides, and really searching for them is like looking for a needle in a haystack, one technique you can employ is called crack bang. And by that I mean when he fires around, the sound of his bullet, which is supersonic, creates its own little sonic boom, which is heard as a crack, kind of like the sound of taking a ruler and slapping it on a desk. But meanwhile, following it behind it, and much slower, is a sound from the muzzle of the rifle. This is the sound most people associate with a weapon being fired, the bang. What we want to do is measure the difference between the crack, which is what you hear first, and the bang, which is what follows. And we do that by practicing a 1 second 5 count. What do I mean by this? Train yourself to count to 5 in 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. Now, when I hear the crack of that round overhead, instantly I count 1, 2, 3. Bang, I hear the muzzle. I know he's 300 yards away. This is only effective out to about 500 yards because that bullet starts slowing down and that sound, which is constant, about 700 miles per hour, starts catching up. It gets muddy after 500 yards. But out to 500 yards, if you practice that 5 count, it's very effective. We've already demonstrated the ways in which a sniper assesses wind, evaluates it, determines how it will assist him or create problems for him. The same is true for any kind of weather conditions as well as light or darkness. Carlos Hathcock has some real-world experiences on exactly that, how light affects a sniper's employment.
First light and last light's the best time there is, because they're going out after a good night's rest and they're all hee-hawed and tap dancing, whistling, smoking cigarettes and pipes and whatever. That's the best time there is. And when they're coming back in the evenings, that's another good time, because they're tired, been on patrol, they're tired, lollygagging, spitting in the gutter and all that stuff, or spitting in rice paddy, and not paying attention to the detail. Same thing in the morning, not paying attention to detail.
There was another major incident in the book as well, and that was the story of Apache.
So, I really don't like to talk about her, to tell you the truth. But every time you say something about her, I see that kid come to the wire.
That was the kid that she cut up.
Yes, Scamp. She was I don't like to use bad words. She was a very bad woman, a very bad woman. Had her own sniper platoon down there, and I think they were out to get all my snipers, myself, everybody. And she had been there